Good afternoon, everyone. Please take a seat. My name is Professor Jerk, and you are in Trainables. Champagne 101. The Champagne Campagna. A bottle of Dom Perignon 85 or a can of Andre 2021. First, this game playing. Prepare your butts to be razzle-dazzled by this stark mediocrity of this match. Have I had better? Yes. And I have had worse. But if you are thinking of buying this ship, well, this is going to be close to 90% of your matches played. So what is this boat? Well, it's the Gascon with slightly better armor and 406mm guns. And that means you will be firing shells from 18 kilometers away that are fueled by warp drives, as the speed of these shells are out of this world. And what does that mean? Well, that means you can be nailing citadel shots from across the map on any broadside battleships you see. It also means that if you were annoyed with your shells overpinning broadside cruisers before, prepare for a whole new level of rage when you overpin them through the bow. Nonetheless, the guns are remarkably accurate 80% of the time, and then that other 20% is that usual French dispersion where Pierre has gotten into the Côte d'Aron Reserve and had a bit too much to drink. So that is the basics of this ship. Accurate guns with a very good penetration and velocity. And now for the rest of it. You can probably count on your fingers and toes how many times you've crossed paths with a Gascon. But have you ever thought about why? The why is because while it is entirely possible to have a great game in it, the majority of the games you will have in it are just meh. And the same applies to the Champagne. But why? Well, I'm glad you asked. This ship is designed to be used in a game that we're not playing. You see, in World of Warships on the PC, teams spawn further back, they can choose their flanks, they can position accordingly, the matches last 20 minutes, the range of engagement is a little bit further away, insanely good destroyer concealment is like 5.3 kilometers, and there are 12 ships on both teams. Now, in the Legends, you spawn very close to each other with no opportunity or say in where you go, short of abandoning your spawn, which is generally a bad idea, you all know that. Destroyers can get 4.3 kilometers away from you without being detected, and the matches are short to force intense close quarters battles. And last, there are only 9 people on each team. Pretty much every single thing this game was designed for, this ship wasn't. It isn't designed for those close quarters. As you can see, it barely has more health than an Amalfi. Its gun dispersion is better the further away you get, and is frankly quite wonky up close. It is designed to flank and drop long bombs on broadside battleships, and while we do usually have 5 battleships in a match, positioning yourself to get broadsides can be time-consuming, of which we have little time for in our short and sweet matches. And on top of all that, there just aren't that many ships out there. So for this flanking, sniping battleship, you are the least impactful subclass in the least impactful class of ships. And that translates to mediocre games. Like I said, though, it is possible to have very good games. It is just that the window of the skill floor and the skill ceiling is pretty small. I went ahead and I've put 200,000 XP into this ship, and in that time I've had 2 3,000 XP games, but I'd guess close to a 45% win rate, which in my book is very bad. Now, more often than not, those losses stem from me relying upon my teammates to do things, which I have told you all 1,000 times is a recipe for disaster, because when you recognize what needs to be done, you need to do it. And a lot of times that means stopping the 2 destroyers who are capping your base, or getting on a cap because your team is behind on points. There are dozens of moments you can think of where you want to grab your teammates and shake them, asking what is wrong with them. And in this ship, that's going to happen to you about every single time. And because of all the weaknesses that this ship possesses, doing those things is more likely than not going to get you sunk. If you have any doubt in your mind about whether you want to get Admiralty backing and grind out this ship, I would say do not do it. Compared to recent campaigns like the Suzuya, which I find pretty boring, and the Ochakov, which you all know I think is very, very good, I'd put this ship right below the Azuma for me. However, if you are into just sitting back and hoping your team will carry you, then you may find this to be worth it. That being said, I think I'd get more pleasure out of spending $10 on a root beer float and cheeseburger than I will out of this ship. Again, it isn't the ship per se, but the game it is played in. So should the game change over time, then maybe this could become more valuable. But for the foreseeable future, I don't think one should hold on to the hope that something drastic will happen. Of course, it could get buffed in the future if it's underperforming, but just like Vanguard, you can't change what it is. They're not going to add another barrel onto the, or turret onto it, so you'll be stuck with 6 shells per salvo, and stuck needing your teammates to spot for you so you can lob those bombs from downtown. Alright, so you are counting calories and trying to get your swimsuit body back for summer and have decided to skip the burger and instead opted to pick up this ship, and you want to know how to play it. Well, first thing you want to do is pray that you get the flank spawn like I did here. If you spawn center, hit reverse, load HE, and just do what you can until the game unfolds in front of you, and then try and find some of those broadsides with AP. But if you're fortunate enough to get a flank spawn like this, well, you're pretty much in your element. You saw me kind of sit outside the cap, lobbing shots at the broadside battleships, and only moving in once it was safe. Turning my guns to the center and looking for targets there. Once we'd cleared out the center, we can push and clean up the remaining ships while drinking mimosas. But don't fool yourself into thinking that I really influenced anything here. This game is made entirely possible by 2 things. Our blue Jervis trading with the red Jervis at A back at the beginning, and the spotting that has been provided by our blue Tashkent, who has held this center pretty well and kept ships spotted for me and allowed me to clean them up. I can't emphasize that enough. You are at the mercy of your teammates in this ship. One other thing that you're going to want to do in this ship to have success is switch ammo types a lot. You've probably seen in this video how often I am switching between HE and AP, probably more than I do in any other ship, though probably about as much as I should do in all ships. This does have a very good chance of fire, and since the shells are so accurate, almost Yubari-like at times, once you see other battleships turning to head for the next map over, hit them with HE, you'll probably get a fire, and then you can laugh all the way to the bank. Or in this case, the bonk.
Defend that area. Acknowledged.
Alright, we are wrapping up this game, and as you can see, I'm hunting the Kraken, and I have come close about 4 or 5 times, but if I'm being honest, the frustration with my teammates I feel playing this ship really turns me off to wanting to try anymore right now. In rounds where I was sunk early, I would jump into any other ship and just breathe a sigh of relief as I could impose my will upon the red team. Now I'm waiting for this ship to go broadside. And let's see this infamous accuracy. Looking good. Pierre. 3 sheets to the wind. So there you go. Champagne. And here's your homework. Are you going to pick it up? Will you let it lay fallow? Drop your response off during my office hours down below. This class is pass-fail. Hit like to pass, hit dislike to fail. Reserve your seat for next semester by hitting subscribe. I'll get back out there for another one soon, and we'll talk then.